Hi, my warmest greetings from Barcelona. Today I'm going to speak about false rules of composition. You'll find on the internet a lot of articles and videos teaching rules of composition. And about all of these articles tell us how to place objects inside a frame. To consider these rules as rules of composition is mistake. When we speak about composition, we speak about lines or spots on a quadrangular flat surface, about its form. And when we speak about depicted three-dimensional objects in imaginary three-dimensional space, inside the frame, we speak about narrative content. It's very important to organize properly depicted objects in the picture, and some rules help us to fulfill this task, but these rules are not rules of composition. We can call the rules working with objects content-related rules or content rules to make the difference. Generally, they tell about what you don't have to do with the objects inside the frame, about avoiding some awkward-looking positions. Some of these rules are more used in photography, some of them are used both in photography and painting or drawing. For example, there is advice to let more space in front of a moving object so it wouldn't run into frame. In a portrait, also better to let more space from the face side. Otherwise, the depicted person looks punished. The rule of thirds, in fact, tells us how to avoid awkward frozen symmetry in the picture, placing an object little aside of the frame middle. Also, we are advised to avoid cutting by frame edge the feet, wrists, and top of the head. One more advice tells us to avoid coinciding borders of different objects. Of course, all the content rules related to the objects depicted in the picture are useful and they work perfectly. But again, these rules are not rules of composition, and they work only for organizing narrative content. If we do not follow rules of composition, content-related rules will not help us to build nicely balanced composition. Let's take as an example the rule of thirds, which is widely used in painting as in photography. We get these thirds by dividing field of frame with 4 lines into 9 equal parts. The 4 intersections are called areas of great visual attraction. So we advised to place the objects close to them. This rule works perfectly when an object stands out from the background as a single silhouette. Let's make it a tree. For example, here we place the tree. Now it works perfectly. But the object might be of different colors. Some place darker, some place lighter. The same tree, for example, might be looking like this. So our tree now is placed close to the points of intersection, but part of the tree works as area of dance, and part of the tree works as empty space, and the tree disappears in our picture. Or might be a case when our tree, again, we plant the tree here, close to the area of intersection, but adjoining areas of dance make the silhouette of the tree practically invisible. There is something that stands out a little in upper part, but it doesn't work properly because here we see big dense area and tree doesn't stand out of this big dense area. As a result, we get mess instead of nicely balanced composition. So we can use any rules, but first we look how composition is organized in terms of dense and empty, or dark and light. How are working figure and background? A figure here is not a human figure, it's a term from Gestalt psychology, a visual element, but might be a dense area or empty area in the image. So it's very important to distinguish rules of working with content-related rules, and rules working with composition. When we work with composition, we work with creative means of our art. We work with lines, we work with hatching, we work with dense and empty, dark and light spaces. We don't work with the objects. We don't have third dimension in our sketch. All what is related to composition in sketching or painting, it exists only in flat surface. It doesn't consist of objects. It consists of spots and lines. And spots and lines are creative means of art, not objects, not trees, not human figures. We work only with lines and spots on flat surface, and when we do it, it is a work with composition. In time, I am creating new videos on composition. You can take a look at my book, Composition and Painting, Basics and Examples. There is a link in description below the video. Don't forget to subscribe, to give likes, and I'll be happy to read your comments. It's all for now. Have a good time. See you soon. Bye-bye.